The summit between U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska on August 16, 2025, was a significant event that captured international attention, particularly regarding the ongoing three-year war in Ukraine. The meeting, amid high expectations of an immediate ceasefire, ended without a clear agreement, raising questions about the future of Ukraine, U.S.-Russian relations, and European stability. The meeting took place at a military base in Anchorage, Alaska, which Trump chose to symbolize neutrality and the historical ties between the U.S. and Russia. Alaska was once Russian territory before being sold to the U.S. in 1867. Putin's welcome was unusually warm, with red carpet treatment and a flyover by U.S. warplanes, which was criticized as excessive deference to the Russian leader amid the ongoing war. The meeting took place at a military base in Anchorage, Alaska, which Trump chose to symbolize neutrality and the historical ties between the United States and Russia. Alaska was once Russian territory before being sold to the U.S. in 1867. Putin's welcome was unusually warm, with red carpet treatment and a flyover by U.S. warplanes, which was criticized as excessive deference to the Russian leader amid the ongoing war. Before the meeting, Trump announced on the plane to Alaska that if a ceasefire in Ukraine was not achieved, he would be not happy and expected an immediate ceasefire as the beginning of peace. During the meeting, the closed-door discussions lasted nearly 3 hours, during which Trump presented Putin with a letter from First Lady Melania Trump demanding the release of over 19,000 abducted children in Ukraine.
After the meeting, the two held a joint press conference, with Putin speaking for over 8 minutes, thanking Trump for his peace efforts but reaffirming Russia's position. Trump returned to the White House early on August 17th and immediately called Zelensky and European leaders. Next step. Zelensky will travel to Washington to meet Trump on Monday, August 19, 2025, for further discussions. Trump proposed a trilateral summit between the United States, Russia, and Ukraine if the meeting goes smoothly. Key discussions, hot topics, and demands. The meeting centered around the Ukraine war. The meeting, which has now reached its 1,268th day, has seen Russia seize approximately 18% of Ukraine. The discussions focused on Putin's demands. He wants full control of 4 Russian-claimed regions, Donetsk, Luhansk, Kherson, and Zaporizhzhia, and offers land swaps, such as freezing front lines in Kherson and Zaporizhzhia if Ukraine withdraws its forces from the remaining Donetsk region, approximately 30% still controlled by Ukraine. Putin also demanded that Ukraine abandon its NATO ambitions and grant official Russian status, including protecting the Russian Church in Ukraine. Trump's position? He initially emphasized an immediate ceasefire to stop the deaths, but after the discussions, Trump shifted his support to a permanent peace agreement, saying that Putin does not want a ceasefire but a full deal. Trump is open to security guarantees for Ukraine similar to NATO's Article 5, though not a true NATO, which could involve guarantees from the United States and Europe. Other issues include U.S.-Russian trade, the elimination of some tariffs, and the issue of kidnapped Ukrainian children, but details are unclear. Outcome: no agreement but vague progress. The meeting ended without a ceasefire or deal. Trump described the discussions as productive and showing great progress, but acknowledged that there will be no deal until there is a real deal. Putin said the talks were frank and meaningful and led to necessary decisions, but immediately rejected the idea of a trilateral meeting. Putin's advisors insisted they hadn't discussed the matter. The war continued, with Russia attacking Ukraine with drones during the meeting. International reaction. Ukraine. Zelensky questioned Russia's sincerity, saying Putin doesn't want real peace and calling on Trump to increase sanctions if a deal isn't reached. He reaffirmed that Ukraine will not cede any territory under its constitution and wanted to participate fully in all negotiations. Europe. Leaders Emmanuel Macron, France, Giorgia Meloni, Italy, Friedrich Merz, Germany, and Keir Starmer of UK praised Trump's efforts but emphasized that no decision on Ukraine can be made without Ukraine. They supported security guarantees for Ukraine and rejected Russia's veto of Ukraine's EU-NATO pathway. Some criticized the Putin welcome as Black Friday for democracy. U.S. divided. Republicans see this as a step towards peace, while Democrats like Schumer criticize Trump for granting Putin legitimacy without sanctions. Russia. Russian media praise Putin for gaining PR without sacrificing anything. In-depth analysis, implications, and risks. The meeting reflects a shift in Trump's approach from an immediate ceasefire to a permanent peace deal, potentially aligning with Putin's maximalist goal of a deal more favorable to Russia. Experts like Daniel Fried and John Hurst of the Atlantic Council believe Putin is not truly refusing concessions, but is using the meeting to stall time and break international isolation, giving Russia an advantage on the battlefield. Russia will seize an additional 241 square miles in July 2025, and global PR without ceasing its offensive. Risk for Ukraine. Without a ceasefire, casualties will increase. Russia has already lost nearly 1 million people. And Ukraine could be pressured into giving up territory that Zelensky sees as unconstitutional and potentially provoking further aggression. Experts like Oleg Shamshur warn that this could lead to a stab in the back for Kyiv, with Trump seen as weak to Putin, leaving Ukraine more dependent on Europe, such as the Coalition of the Willing, which meets this Sunday.
Geopolitical impact. U.S.-Russia. Trump may hope to restore relations for economic gains, such as lifting tariffs, but Edward Verona points out that normal relations are difficult due to European sanctions and reputational risks. NATO and Europe. The meeting made NATO appear sidelined, raising concerns that the U.S. under Trump might reduce its role in Europe. This led European leaders to demand mutual security guarantees to prevent a Trump-Putin pact that could divide the continent. The future. If a trilateral meeting were to occur, it could lead to a breakthrough, but Philippe Dickinson warned that joint pressure, military aid, sanctions would be required, or Putin would prolong the war. Philippe Dickinson and Brian Whitmore viewed this as an unresolved nightmare. If Trump did not act aggressively, Russia could expand its influence to other Eastern European countries. Overall, the meeting highlighted the complexity of the Ukraine war, not just a battlefield, but also a diplomatic game that Putin is playing better at. Conclusion. The Trump-Putin meeting in Alaska ended in disappointment, but opened the door for continued negotiations, particularly a meeting between Trump and Zelensky next week. While there may not be a ceasefire between Trump and Zelensky next week, the vague progress could lead to lasting peace if all parties truly engage. However, the risks to Ukraine and global stability remain high, without concessions from Russia and strong Western support.